Alright, here is a quick video on how to install a vehicle speed sensor to a Suzuki Samurai Dash when you're converting a Carbureted Samurai to fuel injection. This dash that you see here is from my 1989 Samurai. It is getting swapped from the original carbureted engine to a J23 Suzuki fuel injected. The computer has an input for a vehicle speed sensor, and the carbureted Samurais did not have a sensor on them. So what you have to do is find this little plastic rail, if you're unfortunate enough to get a plastic one, or if you're lucky, the metal style. You can find them in most Suzuki cars, and the Suzuki sidekicks from about the 1990s to 2000 era. It's just a little reed switch mounted on a rail with two wires coming off it. This specific one is out of a 1997 Pontiac Firefly that I just found at the wreckers this weekend. And if you are unfortunate enough to have the plastic style, you have to file down along here on both your speedometer and the speed sensor to get the little glass file that contains a reed switch close enough to the magnet in your speedometer, which you can kind of see in there, that silver shiny bit. So I filed that down and glued it on because the screw holes didn't line up and I didn't feel like drilling into my speedometer. Glue would be good enough. So what I've done here is I've hijacked the wires off my seatbelt buzzer, and I've soldered them on to both tab connections of the speed sensor reed switch. I decided that a speed sensor was more important than my seatbelt light working. So, if we flip over my dash, I'll be connecting those wires to this pin right here, where the seatbelt buzzer attached, and to this pin right here, which is the wire for the seatbelt light. This little diode here should prevent power from feeding backward into my ground side, and this, where the power for the light would normally come in, is going to be connected to my ECU on the speed sensor pin. Okay, through the magic of video, my dash is now put together and all hooked up. You can see here I've tied my red wire into this pin here that traces up to my connector, and I've tied my green wire into this common ground that runs through a diode. If you're okay with hijacking your seatbelt light, this pinout should work to give you a speed sensor. Alright, after one last clip away, I've hooked up a multimeter to show exactly what you should look for in your speed sensor working. You can see I've hooked up my probes here to the orange wire that used to be power for the seatbelt light, and the common black ground for the dash, and I am on the 1 ohm setting on this old multimeter. It doesn't have to be an old analog multimeter to test this. I just like the way the needle moves makes it very obvious that it's working. So if I stick my screwdriver in the speedometer cable drive, as I turn the drive, you can see continuity, and it goes away. That happens 4 times per revolution. Now I believe the 2.3 speed sensor is based on the Hall effect, whereas This is just a simple reed switch which opens and closes 4 times per revolution. This is how the 1.6 swap guys do it with an analog switch. I'm not 100% sure if it will work with the 2.3, but as far as I could read on the forums, the computer could still read this for some reason. I'm gonna give it a shot. Hopefully it works for me. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment or direct message, and I will do my best to answer anything you have. Thanks for watching.